Hello, friends, and welcome to Spirited Movie Companions, a movie podcast from the guys that brought you Bottled and Bond. I am Mike Scott, and I have been watching and enjoying movies since I was a kid in the 1900s, and I've always been interested in their history and the lore behind their creation. So, alongside my friend Charlie, we will be taking a deep dive into movies we choose based on a randomly selected monthly theme. We will also be providing pairings for the movie, which may include other movies, books, music, and, in the spirit of our Bottled and Bond podcast, companion beverages. Today we will be discussing 1995's Tommy Boy. So make yourself some popcorn, find a comfy seat, and pour your favorite drink while we ponder this question. Would you like to scope out the 4-H babes, or would you rather go cow tipping? This is episode 3, Tommy Boy. Charlie, welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Big day. Not just for recording Tommy Boy.
Right?
We're going to a auto race after this.
We are going to
The
an
real
auto
auto
race.
racing, not F1. We're going to an IndyCar road race.
Yeah. I
Nice.
think you're going to enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it. It looks very nice out. It's
It does.
it's like
The weather
mid-70s, sunny.
Cooperated.
Yeah.
I was worried at the beginning of the week because it didn't look like it'd be great, but it turned out to be good.
So we figured we'd record this today since, tomorrow being Mother's Day. I guess we got to hang out with our wives to celebrate their motherhood.
Yeah, I think they consider this kind of a guys type of activity that we're doing here.
Yes.
Talking to each other about movies and drinking beer, which
Yeah.
is pretty much what we do anytime we're together,
This is
unless
true.
we're talking about music.
Yes. This theme that we are starting this month is This Round's on You. So this is, friends have picked these. This is actually Charlie's wife's friend, Allison, that picked Tommy Boy, much to my surprise when we recorded Clerks.
Yes.
And we will be spinning the wheel today to determine our June theme. So we
Ooh,
have
that'll
time to
be
pick our
exciting.
June movies. Yeah.
Can't wait.
We have 2 companion beverages. We have Miller High Life in honor of Marquette University, and we have a Kahlua Cappuccino. I remembered to get the espresso, so I will be
Awesome.
preparing those. The Countess Tracy will be with your wife off shopping somewhere.
Yeah, we're going to have to do this all by ourselves.
No errors and omissions, no listener comments. I don't know if anybody listens to this, but if they do, they
Probably
don't
not.
say anything about it.
You know, the interesting thing is I ran this morning, as I will do. And my friend Gavin, who, loved the James Bond podcast, Englishman, he has not seen Clerks, Tommy Boy, or Princess Bride.
Has he seen Animal House?
He had seen Animal House. But, I think we're going to get into movies that may not have been as big in England or that he didn't have the opportunity to see. So, maybe we'll pick up some people to keep listening, even though we're not talking about James Bond.
At this point, it's like we're a freaking comedy podcast. I mean, that's all we've done so far.
I know. Hey, we do need to get
We'll
into
see
some
what
drama.
we'll see what our June theme ends up being.
Yeah. I got some drama picks if we need them.
Recent favorites. I got a few of these. So this week I watched a movie called The Life of Chuck. Has Tom Hiddleston, aka Loki.
Yeah.
Narration by Nick Offerman. It's based on a Stephen King short story. And it's got a very unique way that the story is presented. Like it starts off Act 3, and then it goes to Act 2 and Act 1. And I remembered the story, but I didn't remember it well. And I had to after I finished the movie, I had to sit downstairs for 20 minutes before going to bed to make sure that Countess Tracy didn't ask if I was okay. It was a very, very good movie.
Interesting.
Highly recommend it.
Okay.
We're back on the Hacks train. We are now working on season 3 of Hacks.
I'm
It's
looking
been
forward to that.
phenomenal.
Looking forward.
Because I think they're on 4 now, so we're 2 seasons behind. Yeah.
Oh, we're not. We're waiting to. We just haven't started watching the new season.
Yeah. I should say too, with the movies I'm watching right now, I'm doing a theme in May. Imagine that. I have a theme for my movie watching.
Can't believe it.
It's VHS Village Podcaster Appreciation Month. So what I've been doing is picking one movie from each of the podcasts of the people in the VHS Village that I've
that's
never
nice.
seen. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Guess what the first one was?
What is it?
Batman 1966. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, I have not.
Really? Did you ever watch the show?
I
You had to
watched
have-
the
okay,
show.
I
Oh
figured you would.
gosh, yes, I watched the show. I mean, that's a show that was on. I mean, it was on repeats after school. You'd get home from school, and there was Batman, or the Brady Bunch, Gilligan's Island, Bewitched. Those were some of my favorites. I liked Star Trek, original Star Trek. Right, that was usually on in reruns. Those were all great shows to watch.
Imagine if Tommy Boy had like the pow and the bam every time Tommy did something stupid, like when he's in the
Right.
loading dock and he just runs into the pallet.
Yes.
Any shows, movies, or anything?
We finished up the most recent season of The Night Agent.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good show. We started watching. It's hard to find sort of comedies, and I don't even know if this show is a comedy. We started watching The Chair Company. Have you heard
Oh,
of
that's
that?
Tim Robinson, isn't it?
It
main
is
guy?
a very weird
Yeah.
show.
Have you ever seen any of his other stuff?
No, I don't think
I
so.
just discovered this guy or late last year. I watched a movie called Friendship that he
Okay.
was in. But you have there's memes of him all over the place. He's got a show called I Think You Should Leave
I've heard of that
on
show,
Netflix.
but I've never seen it.
If you want to see
Okay.
weird stuff, it's hilarious though. And then he also did a show with Sam Wilmington. I think that's the wrong name. It's the guy that played Richard Splett in Veep.
Okay. Yep.
I know his first name's
Yeah,
Sam. Sam
yeah.
Richardson, I think.
Okay.
They have a show called Detroiters. That's
I've
just
heard
the
of that
same
show,
kind of
too.
silliness.
Yeah.
Both of those are on Netflix. You should give those
Okay.
a try.
We finished watching The Pit.
Okay.
Pit's good. We finished up Shrinking.
Love
Very,
Shrinking.
very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And we did start watching, we watched like one episode of that show you told me
Rooster.
about with Rooster. The interesting thing about that is it's a show about like, it's a modern show of
Mm-hmm.
them being in college, but it plays all the music from when I was in
Yes.
college,
Yes, it does.
which I love. The soundtrack, I could watch it just for
Just
the
for the music.
soundtrack because it plays like old Joy Division
Yeah.
stuff. And I mean, just
It's a great show.
music on there. But yes, it's funny too.
Well, let's move into the movie and start
right,
with our
all right.
one shots. Did you write a one shot this time?
I didn't write it, but I have
Okay.
it prepared
Okay.
in my mind.
Okay. I write mine down. The nostalgia, both good and bad, hits me hard with all the memorable lines, but also with all the fat shaming.
Nice. Mine's very short and sweet.
Okay.
I guarantee that this movie is funnier than a dump in a box.
Nice. Here's our cast for Tommy Boy. We have Chris Farley as Thomas Tommy Callahan III. David Spade as Richard Hayden. Bo Derek as Beverly Barish Burns. Dan
Great acting.
Dan Aykroyd as Ray Zelinsky. Brian Dennehy as Thomas Big Tom Callahan Jr. Rob Lowe as Paul Barish. Julie Warner as Michelle Brock. Sean McCann as Frank Rittenauer. And Zach Grenier as Don Walter. Those last two guys I've seen in all kinds of random stuff, especially that Zach Grenier.
Okay.
I think he was also in Billy Madison.
I feel like Dan Aykroyd was doing his impression of himself on early Saturday Night
Yes.
Live selling the Bassmaster or whatever
Yes.
that thing was.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
It's like a blender or something.
Yes,
wasn't it?
that he
Yeah.
put a fish right in and
Yes.
just blended up a raw fish.
This was directed by Peter Siegel, and when I was telling you, asked me who the director was, and it's like
Yeah,
Peter
yeah.
Siegel, never heard of the guy.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I bet I've seen probably 7 of his movies, and it was exactly
Well,
7 of his movies
that's
that I've
funny.
seen, including 50 First Dates,
Yeah,
Get
good.
Smart, the Steve Carell movie
Okay.
remake, The Longest Yard, Anger Management, and Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Oh, that's a good one. Now, have you seen Get Smart, the TV series?
Never.
Agent 99, man. I always
What is
had a
his
thing
name?
for her. She's cute. Maxwell Smart
The
in
actor,
Get Smart? Oh, he's that one guy.
the one guy
You
from
know
that one
you
thing.
can't ask me
Is
these
it Ray
things.
Walston?
No. He was my favorite Martian, right?
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. I don't. You'd know it if I said it. I
We
can't
have-
remember.
If it doesn't come to me in the episode, we have an errors and
If
omissions. for
you
it.
watch, so here's another thing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch The 99-Year-Old Man, which is a documentary about the guy who did Blazing Saddles.
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks. And he talks about it because he was part of the creator
Oh, that's right.
of the show.
I remember that now.
And so they do talk about it in there. But and it's very much Mel Brooks style humor for TV. But Agent 99, I always liked her a lot. Just like I liked Samantha on Bewitched. Oh man. Yeah.
Elizabeth Montgomery.
Elizabeth
See,
Montgomery.
I got that name.
She's in a great Twilight Zone episode. Great
Interesting.
Twilight Zone episode. And yeah. She's the best.
Nice. Screenplay by Bonnie and Terry Turner, who also wrote on Saturday Night Live and did a little show called Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, that's a good show.
Classic.
Yeah.
Music by David Newman of the famous Newman family, including his cousin Randy
Newman.
Cinematography by Victor Kemper. Production design by William Elliott. This was released March 31st, 1995. The budget was about $20 million at the time, and it made $32.7 million, which surprisingly low. I thought this was a huge hit. It really was not a big hit.
No, I think it became big after it was in theaters.
Yeah.
Then it became like a cult classic, basically, I think.
So what is your history with this movie?
My history is I know you were like in kindergarten in 1995, but I had a job. I had graduated from college and had a job, and I really was not watching a lot of movies. But my brother, who's 6 years younger than I am, had seen it, and I went and visited his house one time, and he played this for me. So that was the first time I saw it, and of course, I thought it was hilarious.
Well, I was starting high school right after this came
Same
out,
thing.
so I wasn't in kindergarten. I probably saw this in 96 or 97. My best friend in high school, who you've met, coincidentally, a couple times, he loved this movie. And I think he had it on tape, and we would just watch it on tape.
Yeah. It was also, this was in the days when reruns were a thing that existed and that you might see things on TV, which is this thing that there used to be where you turned the channels.
Right.
And so I can't tell you how many times I saw it just flipping past it and watching, half the movie or whatever.
But I mean, a 15-year-old boy.
It's
does
right
anything
in your
hit
wheelhouse.
better? Yeah.
No, right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Totally juvenile humor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's go to the scene summaries. After young Tommy misses his school bus, we transition to college student Tommy, also missing a bus, running to class. Where
I loved his lunchbox, by the way.
What was it? I couldn't tell what it was.
I couldn't tell what it was either.
It was one of those
just
classic
the fact
metal,
that he had
yeah.
it. And he's in Sandusky, Ohio, which is a place where I have been since I grew up in Ohio. I've been to Sandusky. And Upper Sandusky is like right near where Cedar Point is. It's right on
It's
the
like
water.
right between Toledo and Cleveland, right?
Yeah,
but maybe
yeah.
a little closer to Cleveland.
Yeah. And it's close-ish to the lake because of that. And so Upper Sandusky then I think is the part that's right on the lake.
Yeah. So he's running to class where he's taking his History 201 final, which he ultimately passes with a D+.
Yes. He's so excited about it when he sees it on there.
I wish we'd known each other better. This is a little awkward when he hugs the
Yes.
random guy.
Yes.
Couple memorable things from this little scene here. Obviously, he says "Holy shnikes" for the first time, which is a Chris Farley invention. He made that term up. Memorable scene. Tommy thinks he's locked out of the building, but he should have pulled the door instead of pushed.
That was good.
And then taking his History 201, which, by the way, if History 201's that easy, no wonder we lag in education.
Herbie Hancock.
Herbie Hancock is one of the founding fathers.
It is hilarious, of course.
Later on in the frat, Tommy smokes some very legal substances while chugging some beers and pretending to make out with one of his buds. He then passes out, breaking the table. And I'm going to enjoy a little bit of my Miller High Life right now.
Yeah, go for it.
While he's doing that. Any commentary about the first scene here?
No, I love this first scene. And
What was your beer of choice in college?
Well, so usually whatever was on sale.
Yeah.
So a lot of things from Milwaukee. Milwaukee's Best, Old Milwaukee. However, I will say that one of the greatest inventions of our time in college was Miller Genuine Draft.
Nice.
That was the beer that when we could afford to get something more expensive than those other terrible beers, we would get Miller Genuine Draft, and it was delicious in college.
Yeah.
Like that was really living high on the
Nice.
hog. I mean, maybe if we were like crazy, we'd get a Grolsch, which remember
We've had Grolsch. Grolsch
right.
I
So
like that. I like Grolsch.
back then there were no microbreweries, right?
Yeah.
So imports were the things like you'd get a St. Pauli girl or something exotic, right?
Right. Miller High Life, obviously the champagne of beers.
Yes.
It's fine. There's nothing wrong with this.
No, there
perfectly harmless. This was the first beer I ever bought. I bought it when I turned 21. I put it in the fridge. I had drank one.
Nice.
And then my stepmother was worried because my grandma was coming over. So she took the beer out of the fridge and hid it in the back of our pantry where it proceeded to skunk.
Yeah.
So that's my memory of that. But, you know, I didn't go to college. Like, I didn't go to a frat or anything. I stayed at home for college. So I didn't have that enjoyment of it. But, yeah, Miller High Life. That's our sponsor today.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
Pay us money.
Yeah. Right.
We now go
Miller High Life. There's nothing wrong with it.
We now go to Tommy heading back to Sandusky, and he is greeted by Richard when he gets off the plane. Tommy wonders why his dad wasn't there to greet him. Richard tells him that, you know, well, he was here at the earlier flight, but you weren't on it. Did you call or anything? And we get the memorable line where Tommy's trying to fumble through an excuse, and Richard says, "I can't hear you. You're trailing off." And did I catch a niner in there? Will you call in from a walkie-talkie?
4 niner.
Good stuff. And then we have another memorable line. Tommy says, "You know, a lot of people go to college for 7 years," to which Richard replies, "I know, they're called doctors." And then we see his nice luggage where Richard
Maybe
says,
go back for another 7 and study a globe.
but we have him seeing, you know, Tommy's luggage come off, goes, "Oh, that has to be you." And it's just a big garbage bag.
Yes. That was good.
As they arrive in town, Tommy notices many of the old factories have shut down. Remember when a giant bag of M&Ms only cost 69 cents? Because that was a giant bag of M&Ms.
It was a very big bag of M&Ms.
Now, here's where I'm going to defer to you. I know that Richard's car is a GTX, but I imagine you have some comments about
It's a
this
Plymouth Belvedere GTX.
car. Okay.
Oh, it's a great looking car. Great old car. Wouldn't you love to drive that car? How awesome would that be?
Go on a road trip selling brake pads in that car?
Yeah. I would definitely do that. I wouldn't put any deer in there, though.
No. It's very cherry, I think, as he liked to say.
It was very cherry.
As they arrive at Callahan Motors, we see Big Tom Callahan strong-arming a banker to give him a loan. He's talking about the history of Callahan Auto Parts, and this is Brian Dennehy, who's been in, he was in First Blood, Cocoon, you know, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. His acting's good.
Yes. I love all the pictures of the family, and then they get to the aunt, and it looks just like, it's like a combination of Brian Dennehy and Chris Farley as a woman. That was great. Tommy arrives.
And they didn't even have AI to make that back then, Mike.
That's why it looks
Some
so good.
props person had to do it, probably.
Right. Tommy arrives, gives his dad a huge hug, accompanying him to the factory. After some shenanigans with a grinder, Tom shows the banker the brake pad division as Tommy continues to fumble around.
With those hooks. And then he says a line that you can't say anymore.
I will say that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah. He starts off, like, there's the hook's coming along, and he's like, "I got cat-like speed and reflexes." And Tom just looks at him because he gets hit in the head.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I was just checking the specs on the inline for the rotary girder," which I use that line to this day. And then he says that he's the R word.
Yeah.
That's our first of 2 R words in this one. Tom then takes Tommy to his new office with his own fridge for soda. After giving Tommy some brake pad manuals, Tom leaves and Richard comes in and teaches Tommy how to read. It's called reading, top to bottom, left to right. Letters form words, words form sentences.
Yeah.
Take Midol for any cramps.
Midol for cramps. You get that joke, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I'm in a house of 2 women.
Oh, okay. I know,
Well,
but I didn't
one
know
woman and a teenage girl.
Yeah, well, I didn't know they marketed it Midol like that anymore,
Yeah.
but I think it's eternal now. I think it's the same pain medication that's in any other
Probably.
pain medicine, but someone had a great idea. We'll market it to women for cramps.
Right. We then cut to this mysterious stranger arriving in town via bus, chugging a carton of milk. This is Rob Lowe. I think we've maybe seen him in something before. Maybe Wayne's World. Maybe
Yeah.
the second Austin Powers movie, which we may someday cover on Bottled and Bond. Who knows? We go back to Tommy arriving at home, and there was a little joke earlier where like he was going through the office and he was covering his eyes, and Tom, his dad, was like, "I didn't tell you to cover your eyes."
You don't have to do
so he
that.
did it again.
Yes.
He said, Tommy, will you stop covering your eyes? And then he's introduced to Tom's fiance, Beverly, who's like a 10, which I
Nice.
did get that joke.
Okay, good. You've seen that movie?
I've never seen it, but I knew that.
Oh, you haven't seen
I knew
that?
she was in 10.
Okay. You probably need to see it.
Now, if you haven't seen my note yet, how old? Maybe you already know.
I already saw the note, sorry.
Bo Derek was 38 at the time of filming this movie.
You know, I'll be honest, I don't think she looked that great. She looked sort of emaciated.
I
or
wondered if they
something.
actually did makeup or something, because if she was
Yeah,
pretending
her
to be Paul's mom,
Yeah,
Rob Lowe, I think, was like 30
maybe.
around this time. They're not that far apart in age. So maybe they did do some makeup stuff.
I don't know, but she didn't look good.
She did not. Because I did watch an interview on the DVD that was like 10 years later, and she looked way better in that
Oh,
and
interesting.
younger. So
Yeah,
I think
maybe they did
something,
that on
yeah.
purpose so that so the story would make
Yes.
sense. But yeah, she didn't look great. She also can't act.
No. She won did she win the Golden Raspberry, or was she just
I
nominated?
think she won the Razzie. Yes, that's what my intel said in IMDb.
Nice. Tommy is told that he's going to have a brother, and then Paul arrives, the guy that was on the
Yes.
bus earlier, to which we have a very, very iconic line that I definitely say to this day: "Brothers don't shake hands, brothers gotta hug." Love it. That night, Tommy takes Paul for some good old cow tipping instead of, scoping out the 4-H babes at the livestock auction or throwing stuff off the bridge.
Yes.
So Tommy lines up to tip the cow. He slips and falls in the mud.
Yeah, I don't think you want to know what it is.
So they go to wash it off.
Either way.
At the gas station. But I don't know if you could notice it or not, but many of the cows in the background were just giant plastic cows.
Oh, is that right? I
Yes.
didn't even notice that.
There's a gag reel, and the scene where Tommy leaves the hotel to go get a pizza.
Mm-hmm.
They had put the cow outside of the door, so when he turns around, he like runs into it and just laughs his
Nice.
ass off.
Nice.
We get our first fat shaming of the movie, because during this scene when they're driving around, Paul says, "Is there anything to do in this town besides eat?"
Yeah.
At the gas station, we get a moment where Tommy is doing his best flash dance. He's a maniac.
That was
Have you ever seen
funny.
Flashdance?
I have not.
Neither have I.
I mean, I've seen the video for Maniac a million times.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen the movie.
Well,
We should be writing these things down
Yeah.
that we haven't seen.
We'll get back to him. So Tommy gets washed off, and Paul says, "Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?"
Yes.
To which Tommy replies,
Not the first time last time people say that.
"Why?" Back at Callahan, Richard hassles Tommy for not working. Did you ever have one of those little skeleton gloves that Tommy has on where it looks like your hand's a skeleton? The thing he
No.
was playing with. You
I
never had
never
one
had
of those?
that, no.
I had one, and I definitely flipped people off with it all the time.
Nice.
You had to have done the Darth Vader fan thing, though, right?
Oh, yes.
Just talking into the
through the
fan,
fan.
yeah.
I definitely talked through the fan many times. Do you want to know my best fan story, though?
Sure.
So, our Atari, which back then we didn't call it an Atari 2600, we just called it an
It was
Atari.
an Atari, yeah.
I think partly, well, you didn't have a lot of TVs back in those days. So there was a TV in my parents' bedroom and there was a TV down in the family room. And I think my parents probably rightly determined that if it was on the family room one, my father would get irritated because he'd want to watch something and we'd want to be playing Atari. So they
Yeah.
put it on the one in their bedroom. And that mostly worked because mostly we got it when we were younger. And so, then they could control us not playing it all night because it was in their room.
Right.
At one point, there was some point when our air conditioner broke, and my parents got this big box fan out. And I had possibly the greatest idea of my entire
You
life.
made tents, didn't you? With blankets.
I took the jar or whatever it is of baby powder,
Okay.
and I squirted it behind the fan. And billowing clouds of baby powder shot out from the fan,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
Wow, that's not the direction I thought that was going.
My mother did not think it was so awesome.
I could see that.
When she came upstairs and every surface of her room was covered in baby powder.
Wow.
Every surface.
That's crazy.
that was so even better than talking from behind the fan, except worse. Children listening, don't do this.
Yeah.
Unless you're outside.
Yes.
In which case, it's awesome.
We get some more fat shaming from Richard here. Now, I know you'd love to just sit there and keep not being slim.
Yes.
So he tells him about, something wrong down at the loading docks. Tommy tries to do his job, but is mostly incompetent. He's wondering why these brake pads or these auto parts are going to Columbus, but taking 2 days, and it's because it's Columbus, Georgia, not Columbus, Ohio.
Yes, that was a good one.
Eventually, he runs into Michelle, who is the sister of an old friend of his.
Who's the obvious love interest.
Yes.
The only woman his age who falls in love with him after 2 scenes.
Yeah. And she works in the shipping department. They're just chit-chatting in her office. She offers him a donut.
She is cute. I'll give her that.
To which Tommy replies, I have what doctors call a little bit of a weight problem. I used to eat bear claws and get them lodged right here.
Right here.
I love that. We now go to the wedding. Tommy and Tom are having a nice moment. I was listening to the director commentary on this part, and Brian Dennehy, he said, I don't want to read the lines that they wrote. I want to kind of play it a little differently. And it basically, him not kind of knowing what he wants to say to Tommy, and I think it worked really well, because Brian Dennehy was a phenomenal actor.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect casting in this. But they're talking about Tommy's deceased mother, and basically Tom's kind of saying, without saying it, I've been lonely, things like that.
Right.
The moment is then interrupted by a tipsy Richard who says it's wedding time. We get a very memorable line, to which I quote to this day, that's also fat shaming. How do we look? Chubby? And I've had too much to drink, and Richard leaves.
Yes. It's funny the look they give him. They just stare at him.
Yeah. After the wedding, everyone's having a good time at the reception, but Tom's doing some business during the reception with, I think this is a auto parts, supplier or something.
Yeah.
I can get a hell of a good look at a T-bone steak by sticking my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it. And Tommy has his little laugh in the background. So many freaking lines.
Great line.
So many.
Great line.
Tom and Tommy then start their own musical performance on stage, but Tom falls over from a heart attack. As they all look down at his body, the scene transitions to Tom's funeral. How great was that shot? I mean, we're talking a silly 90-minute comedy movie, and they have that shot where he's laying on the stage, and they look down, but then they pan back up, and it's them at the funeral looking at his casket.
That was effective.
But at the wedding, there was a quick shot of Chris Farley's brother, Kevin, sitting at the table. And if you look at him, he looks just like Chris Farley.
Oh, really?
I once sat that close to Kevin Farley at the Comedy Cellar in New York City.
Oh, wow.
He came in for a set, to watch a set, which Ray Romano showed up as a surprise guest to do a set. So, and actually, Ray Romano talked about that surprise guest spot at the Comedy Cellar that I was at on Conan O'Brien's podcast. So basically, this podcast has that connection to Conan's podcast.
Exactly.
Conan, sponsor us. Thank you.
He's going to be calling us any minute now.
Yeah. I know Matt Gorley's a big James Bond fan also, and he's like his co-host on that.
Oh, okay.
So
I will say, I love Conan. I rooted for him to get every job. I used to watch his show.
Yeah.
And it is so funny.
Great Oscars this year. Great job.
Yeah. And his travel show is very funny.
Yes, it is. So Tommy, looking completely lost, leaves the funeral, ends up back at Callahan mourning his father. Almost like a montage scene of just him, contemplating life. Eventually, we see Michelle on Tommy's dinghy, chatting with Tommy about his dad. They're unable to move because of the lack of wind, and Tommy gets heckled by a few snot-nosed kids. He tries to keep calm, but ultimately Michelle scares them away.
That's pretty good. I know where you live.
I know your mother's and I know where you live. We get 4 fat shames in this. Hey, Tubbo, you ain't moving. No, you need to drop a couple 100 pounds, blimp. Hey, Gilligan, did you eat the skipper? I think that's my favorite of those.
That's a good one.
And then, hey, lady, look out. There's a huge whale on your boat. Typical, snot-nosed little 10-year-old boys.
Yeah.
Later, there's a board meeting where Frank, one of the VPs, tells everyone they're in dire straits. The banker retracts the loan approval for the brake pad division, and we're told here that Ray Zielinski is offering to buy out Callahan, not to be confused with Raymond Stantz. Tommy offers to put up his house and shares in the company as collateral for that loan, and then volunteers himself and Richard to go on the road and sell the brake pads. The best line in this scene is the line with the old woman and the old man.
Yeah,
that's when the whores come in.
Yes.
Men laying their trick money, and the guy responds, "For Christ's sake! Once during the war, I visited a prostitute. My life's been a living hell ever since."
The funny thing is, their conversation just keeps going. Other conversations are happening, and it keeps it'll just cut back to them for a second, and she'll say one more thing.
And then Richard at one point's like, "I like her idea."
Yes.
Tommy and Richard head on the road. Richard quizzes Tommy on the products. Tommy's eating some sort of candy or snack or something, and we get our fat shaming. Ugh, I can actually hear you getting fatter. And then they get to the first place they're going to try to sell the brake pads. We get a memorable line and some more fat shaming. Does this suit make me look fat? No, your face does. So Tommy and Richard... go ahead.
See, the thing is, Mike,
yeah,
in the old days, it used to be funny to make fun of fat people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You probably don't remember.
Because they don't have feelings or anything. So,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm allowed to laugh at it now as somebody that's... I'm not half the man I used to be, but I am 2/3 of the man that I used to be. So, I mean, I went through a lot of those struggles. It's not always fun, but, sometimes you just got to shrug it off. And that's what Chris Farley basically did his whole career.
Well,
because it was always going to be...
Yeah, and when you're a comedian, lots of comedians just, really go full force on whatever's the funniest or their biggest flaw.
Yeah.
Right? Or whatever they feel like will get a laugh, no matter what it is, right? I mean, people do that all the time, right? It's almost like the getting no respect from Rodney Dangerfield or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, people tend to lean in on things, and I suspect that he knew it was funny and purposely did that.
Yes, but you also knew that there was a part of him that it hurt.
Probably.
Like I heard stories about the Chippendales SNL. Have you seen that with Patrick Swayze?
Yes.
Hilarious.
It is very funny.
And he's amazing in that scene.
Yeah.
But it was another cast member or something like that. Was like the meanest thing they ever did was make him do that scene.
Yeah.
But we'll move on. This is not a serious episode. This is Tommy Boy. So Tommy and Richard are getting rejected at every stop until they come across someone who says maybe, at which point Tommy gives a visual demonstration of the brake pad's effectiveness by crashing the other car, setting its remains on fire, and going completely off the rails. I used to be able to act out this whole thing. You're driving along, and he's able to stop. Whoa, that was close. Now let's say you're doing using the other guy's brake pads. You're driving along, like, oh my God, there's a tire in the road. And then he falls over a cliff.
Yes.
Car's on fire. Medic comes in. Oh my God. All because you wanted to save a couple pennies on some brake pads.
So let me tell you. So our son watched this with us, and he never watches movies with us, and he usually does not like comedies, and he always insists that anything we like, he doesn't like.
Yeah.
And he watched the movie, and up to this point, he remained very stoic, I think, trying to not laugh at anything, because then it would prove that he liked a movie that we liked.
Yeah.
But when it got to this scene, he could not stop himself from laughing.
You can't.
I
It's
know,
amazing.
because it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And me not having seen it in a while, I know what's going to happen, but you don't remember the full extent. I
was laughing at it. We watched it with
so funny.
We watched it with Bailey last night, and we were just all laughing at it again.
It is.
It never stops being funny. So they continue their journey, stopping for gas, where Tommy begins the destruction of Richard's car by backing the car up too far and knocking the door backwards.
That scene is just so good.
Yeah.
It's subtle because it's just all these small, slow things that happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Because in the inside, you got Richard talking to the gas attendant who doesn't want to have anything to do with him.
You need a new map.
Yeah. Because he's looking for Davenport, which is not in Illinois.
Not in Illinois.
Maybe Richard
Which
should have
is a
gone back
pretty
to
good
college.
scene. I mean, that is sort of the comeuppance of the snarky,
Yes.
right? They had to have at least one scene where the snarkiness isn't
Yeah.
justified and where he gets put in his place. But
Yeah.
at the same time, Tommy's out there, and I just love that how he looks back and backs up the car
Yeah.
in the door. And then when he comes out and opens and the door falls off, what'd you do?
What'd you do? I love that all the dents are gone when Richard opens the
Yes.
door, like it was all
I
cleaned
know,
up.
it looked nice. I know, because you can clearly see when the door falls off that it looks terrible.
Now let's be honest here. I need your honesty. If you
Yeah.
spill a little gasoline on your fingers, do you sniff it?
Maybe.
I do.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. So we're now at the Callahan Carnival.
That's back. That's from back at a time when we didn't know it was bad to sniff
Yeah.
gasoline, right? It just, gasoline smells pretty good.
It's like napalm. I love the smell of it in the morning.
Exactly. I liked the smell of gasoline. It smells pretty cool. So does car exhaust
I don't know about
with
that one.
leaded gas.
Oh, okay. So
That was the best.
nice. At the Callahan Carnival, most of the employees are disillusioned with Tommy's lack of success. Meanwhile, there's some Game of Thrones shit going on as Beverly begins to make out with her son Paul.
Yes.
Oh, wait, turns out they aren't mother and son, which makes sense since they're only a few years apart in real life. As Michelle chats with Frank about Tommy's efforts, she sees Beverly and Paul being awful chummy as they're walking away. We're back on the road. Richard takes out a deer because he was making fun of Tommy. He was looking at the map and it's like, okay, let's see. Where's Moron? Okay, Moron's here, pointing to Tommy's head. And then points to...
Did we miss Rob Lowe peeing on the transformer? And
No,
getting
we're not
blown
there
back?
yet.
Oh, okay, good.
We got a little bit for that. They so he hits a deer. They load the dead deer, quote unquote dead deer, into the car and head to the next customer. Tommy challenges Richard to take the lead on this sale. Richard proceeds to be a smug, unhappy, and condescending man. Tommy tries to mend the fence, but he goes completely off the rails. So, before we talk about a little bit more about this one, there are a couple of things. First off, we get a fat shaming where he says to Tommy, "It's the next town, tons of fun." And then we get a couple memorable lines to it.
Yes.
Tommy's trying to speak Tom's line from earlier. "You can take a good look at a butcher's ass by sticking your head up there, but wouldn't you rather take his word for it?" And then he
just keeps trying. No,
it has to be your bull.
Yes. No, your wife. What about my wife?
So then he melts down and he's just screaming that he's an absolute failure. And he says, "Every time I drive down the road, I want to jerk the wheel into a goddamn bridge abutment." And he his hair is all spiked straight up.
Pretty dark.
That's my favorite line of the movie.
Is it
I'll just go
really?
ahead and say it. That is so freaking hilarious. Just because of his hair and everything at the end.
Yeah.
So they're continuing their drive through Iowa, heading to Minneapolis. In the back seat, the deer wakes up, pissed off, and proceeds to destroy Richard's car before running off. We get a memorable line. "I swear I've seen a lot of stuff in my life, but that was awesome." Little trivia about the deer. You can't train a deer.
No.
So basically what they had to do was they took this car out to a deer farm,
Yeah.
put food on it for a month.
Oh my
Let the
gosh.
deer get familiarized with
Yeah.
it. Like it would urinate on it and stuff. So it would become its car.
Yeah.
And then they basically could just shoot the real deer up on top of the car, jumping off and running away. That's all they could do with the real deer for that scene. So the rest of it was just animatronic, of course.
These days, they just tell some guy in, Vietnam.
Yeah.
Could you? What I want it to look like is a deer jumping off a car.
Oh, now you just tell Chat GPT.
I know. What I love is when the deer wakes up and you see the deer's head between them and the seat. It's so obviously a fake deer.
Yeah.
But that almost makes it funnier.
does.
How ridiculous it looks.
That's why practical effects are awesome.
I know.
You don't need everything to look realistic.
No, it almost and the thing is when they get out of the car, there's some dude in there with those antlers tearing up the roof, right?
Right, yeah.
Obviously they didn't put a deer in the back seat. I'm not even positive a deer could fit in the back seat of a car like that,
Yeah.
Mike. You see how big that deer is.
I know.
But it's great while they sit there and watch that thing getting torn up, even
Yeah.
though you know full well
Right.
it's a fake deer.
Ironically, they arrive at the Deer Glen Motel.
Also, what do you think a deer weighs?
Oh, 600-700 pounds, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see two guys get that, pick it up and get that into a
Well,
car.
it did take him over an hour to put it in there.
Yeah.
They're watching a commercial at the hotel room from Ray Zelinsky, the guy looking to buy Callahan.
Yeah.
All the while, there's moths right by their window because the window's open, which was just pieces of paper. They couldn't afford real moths for that scene.
Oh, that's funny.
Ray Zelinsky, as we said earlier, is Dan Aykroyd. So, poor Ray, ghost busting didn't work out. So he has to be an auto part magnet.
Well, I got a question for you, Mike. Why is there a vacuum cleaner in the room with the moths?
Tracy asked the same thing. That's a very good question.
When have you ever been in a hotel room that they put a vacuum cleaner in the room?
Maybe that was in the sign. We have free HBO and vacuum cleaners.
Vacuum cleaner. I mean, it's fun because he sits there and tries to,
Yeah.
to suck the moths into the vacuum cleaner. But the first thing I thought is, why is there a vacuum cleaner sitting right there?
Yeah. We get another memorable line here. And I don't call this fat shaming because it's Chris Farley all on his own doing it. And this was a bit he did. But he's trying to lighten the mood. And he puts on Richard's coat. And he's, fat guy in a little coat. And then Richard. And he flexes his arms. And the whole thing rips off.
That's one of my
Classic.
wife and I's favorite lines.
it's so
for
great.
some reason. Just the little way he sing-songs it.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
And I heard too, one of the producers, it originally wasn't going to be sung. It was just going to be him saying it. And one of the producers was like, you should sing that. And they did it.
It
Yeah.
totally works.
It does.
Because he's trying to cheer him up. So singing is perfect.
Yeah. Next morning, Richard and Tommy argue about the music on the radio, eventually coming to an agreement on Superstar by the Carpenters.
Great
It is a
scene.
great song.
And they kind of glance at each other
Yes,
like,
this is
you
fine.
can turn it. No, it's
And they're
it's okay.
singing it and crying. It's great.
Yes.
The hood flies up because Tommy forgot to take the oil can out of the engine.
What a great scene. Because they just both scream and they can't
Yeah.
see anything and the car
They're on
goes
the wrong
around.
side of the road.
Yes.
They stop at some prehistoric forest where they begin to fight with Richard winning with a 2x4 to Tommy's face. So a little trivia about this one.
Yeah.
Chris Farley always wanted to do his own stunts, so that was him getting hit in the face with the board. The board had a rubber part that
Okay.
David Spade was supposed to hit him with. He missed,
Oh,
and he
man.
knocked him with the actual wood. So it wasn't not so much here
Yeah.
or here, but it was
here.
like right here.
Right here. Yes.
They arrive at a restaurant where Tommy is sure he has some sort of mark on his face. Like I said, not here.
Not here,
There's so much here, but right here.
Yeah.
Tommy asks for some wings, but they are not available. There's a waitress comes named Helen. I'm sorry. So Helen comes and says, "Good God, what happened to your face?"
Yes.
I knew it. And then Tommy asks for wings. She says they're not available. He laments to her that he's a failure, has another meltdown. He attacks a roll and tells it it's naughty and stuff, and then just blows the roll up. After his meltdown, she says, "God, you're sick," but agrees to fire up some wings for him because Tommy want wings.
want wings. Yes.
Um,
And
I also hate when they don't deter shrimp cocktail.
did that look like the kind of place that you would order a shrimp cocktail
yeah.
and trust it to
Definitely
be
not.
okay? The first time I saw it, I was waiting for the scene where he's violently ill.
Oh,
'Cause
that
I'm
makes
like-
sense, yeah.
I'm like, not the place I would order a shrimp cocktail.
So given we have this scene with Tommy just going off the rails again, I think this is a good spot for a drink time.
All right.
We're going to have our cappuccino concoction.
Awesome.
We are back with our Kahlua cappuccino.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Charlie, you don't drink a lot of coffee.
I don't because of my stomach, but I love coffee.
I mean, that's
Pretty good.
tasty. Yeah.
What's not to like?
Yeah, it's really, despite how long it took me to make, it's really simple. It's just like 1 part Kahlua, 1 part espresso, 1.5 steamed milk,
Yeah.
and some ground nutmeg that I ground myself just
Ground
now.
by hand, right in front of my eyes.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the movie. Tommy and Richard continue their sales, but things are not going well once again because the manager's customers want that guarantee right on the box.
On the box.
On the box. And we get Well, Tommy starts out by trying to do the butcher thing once again, and he does not. Richard stops him. And back at the diner, they were talking about how Tommy needs to sell, like he sold that lady on making him some chicken wings.
Yeah.
So he has to change his tactic. So the manager asks Tommy, why do they put a guarantee on the box then? And then Tommy replies, because they know all they sold you was guaranteed piece of shit.
I could take a dump in a box and put a guarantee on it. I've got the time.
I love his whole guarantee fairy thing. Where he's like, and the next thing you know, your daughter's knocked up. I've seen it 100 times.
Yes, I know.
But the manager agrees, and Tommy makes his first sell. We're now back to the Callahan mansion. Before there is any slap and tickle with Paul and Beverly, Paul decides he needs to sabotage Callahan by shooting out all the tires on all their delivery trucks. So he goes to the plant.
Driving the Cadillac Sedan DeVille.
Nice.
And importantly, as we'll see, that car existed or was made at a time when passive restraints became required in cars.
Oh.
And
that's where the belt locks.
A passive restraint means any restraint that you don't have to do it.
Oh, okay.
And it happens, okay? So when they first made the law, they didn't necessarily say you have to have airbags, because re-engineering a car that's been designed, for 10 years, and that, it takes them years to design a car, then they manufacture a car.
Yeah.
And you can't easily just change the car once you've started manufacturing it, right? It's extremely time-consuming and expensive. And so some people met the rule by having those automatic seatbelts where you didn't do anything. The seatbelt was just on, because back in the day, you could just not wear your seatbelt.
Yeah.
And I had a car, a Pontiac Grand Prix, where the way they met the passive restraint was that they put the seatbelt assembly on the door of the car instead of on the post.
Oh.
And the theory was you were supposed to keep the seatbelt clipped in and just open the door. And when the door opened, the seatbelt stretched out, but you could still get in and out of the car with the seatbelt attached. Now, of course, in practice, as I'm sure they knew, nobody did that because it was real pain opening the door and getting in and out of the car. But they met the rule. And those little automated electronic, retractable seatbelt things were the other way that they met it for cars where they didn't have time and money and everything to put airbags on them like they would do with new cars that came out. But in this case, of course, it's very important that it has that.
Wow. I didn't think I was going to get that much detailed seatbelt knowledge. Nicely done.
I love cars. Also, at the time, I worked for a company that made seatbelts, Mike.
Oh, okay.
They also made the Chimsel. You know what the Chimsel is?
No.
The center high-mounted safety light. So that third brake light, that came in starting in 1986. You had to start putting those on cars. And a lot of them had it just tacked on because, again, they couldn't re-engineer the car.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them, like some of them, especially convertibles, they just like drilled a hole in the trunk and mounted that thing to the top of the trunk. It looked ridiculous. But what else could you do?
Right. Interesting. Very interesting stuff.
I'll see what else I can come up with car-wise.
All of this to say, he avoids the guard dog, but before shooting the tires, Paul gets caught in the seatbelt that's retracting, and he shoots the guard dog's chain off somehow and proceeds to get mauled by the dog.
Yes. Isn't a joke like that much funnier after 10 minutes of explanation of how seatbelts work and how the passive restraint regulations worked?
Yeah. You know what bothers me? I have a 2026 Pilot, and if you don't have your seatbelt on, it beeps and you cannot turn it off.
Yeah.
Problem is, like today, we took our in-laws out for Mother's Day, and they get out of the car, and if I don't turn the car off, the sensors don't sense that they're out of the car, and there's no seatbelts locked in, and it just blares at me.
That's not.
It's very annoying. Honda
it should notice when they're out of there.
Honda, fix this issue, please.
My last car would, when I drove my dogs home, it would know they were in the seat, and it would want the seatbelt to be attached, but not knowing it was dogs sitting there.
Stupid cars don't know
I
anything.
know. The scary part is pretty soon they will know things, and then we'll
Yeah.
be like, I like when cars were dumb and they didn't know things.
Says the guy that still insists on driving a stick.
Totally insist. It's the only way to drive, Mike.
There are numerous deleted scenes that show Paul failing at various acts of sabotage. So there was like a whole thing of him doing stuff, but they wanted to keep the runtime short. At the next hotel, Tommy basks in his success, and even Richard cracks a smile. Tommy leaves to get a pizza and flirts with a pretty lady at the pool. As the lady undresses, Richard realizes nobody's in the hotel room, so he decides to do some slapping without the tickling. Or is it tickling without the slapping? Tommy returns, catching Richard trying to pet a one-eyed snake. After giving him some more grief, they go to bed. But a couple lines here that I picked out. He says a few more, but these are my favorites. Say, that's a pretty girl down there. I wonder if she goes out with one of the Yankees.
Yes.
And then when they're laying in bed, Richard, who's your favorite little rascal? Alfalfa? Or is it Spanky? And then he adds a sinner on the end. The sinner is my favorite part of that.
Okay, the most realistic part about this whole sequence that my wife really thinks is funny is
What's that?
the lady is down there by the pool. First of all, she's in a bikini. Why does she need to go skinny dipping?
Yeah.
Second, she looks around to see if anyone's there, and it makes it very funny because he's watching her, and he's like, "Oh, nobody's around. You're okay." But the entire hotel looks down on that pool.
And you can clearly see Richard up in the window from there.
And all the windows point to the pool. I'm so sure. I mean, it just goes to show that like men make movies.
Yes. Perverts. I was offended by that scene.
yeah, well.
I mean, that's just disgusting.
We're still cavemen at heart, Mike.
We are. So the next day, Tommy drives a destroyed car as they make tons of sales on the road. Michelle's preparing the shipments back at Callahan. There are various shenanigans that occur during this little montage, including picking up the hitchhiker and my dog. My dog appeared in this, Penny. It's a golden retriever. And then also Richard driving off as Tommy tries to take a leak. That was pretty funny.
Some good songs come up here.
Coming up, almost there. Back at Callahan, Paul finally does get some sabotage and sabotages the shipments on the computer, but loses his shirt in the pneumatic tube.
Okay, that was pretty funny.
I miss pneumatic tubes.
Yeah.
Those were awesome at the bank. You just pop it in and it sucks it up. It's great stuff.
Those are cool.
Tommy tries to sleep at the next hotel, but housekeeping offers to jerk him off. Just kidding.
Housekeeping?
It's Richard. He tells Tommy that they've met their goals. Memorable line. Housekeeping, you want me to jerk you off? What kind of hotel is this?
Yes.
And then Tommy gets all excited, drops his blankets, and he's in there. He's just wearing his little tiny underwear. And they went back and forth on, do they have him Pooh Bear in it with no underwear, or do they have him completely naked? And they decided to give him the tiny underwear.
I think it's actually funny.
I think it is too, because you get like the butt crack, and it's just very funny. And then Richard on the front's going, yikes. So now we get another music montage in the car with Richard and Tommy. We get Come On Eileen by Dexy's Midnight Runners, also the name of one of those adult films in Clerks, Come On Eileen. We get, I might butcher this name. It's The End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine by somebody called Rem.
Yeah.
I might have to check out this Rem band.
Yeah.
And then we have a song called Eres Tu by Mocedades. Did you ever have to sing Eres Tu in Spanish class in school?
I did not.
I
no.
did. We had to sing that all the time.
Really?
Yes.
I don't think we had to sing in Spanish class.
They eventually returned to Callahan to discover the orders got messed up and most ended up being canceled. Tommy talks to Michelle, trying not to be upset, but he ultimately blames her system for the disaster. She runs off distraught, looking very weird. She makes a facial expression that's very odd.
Yeah.
But eventually goes to the airport where she spots Paul and Beverly making out. So she makes a call to her cop brother. I have a note here. Has Charlie ever seen Scanners?
No, I don't know what that is.
Because, at one point Richard's like, I feel like I'm in the movie Scanners. And it's a scene where a guy's head explodes. I have seen Scanners. It's a Cronenberg? Yeah, Cronenberg movie. So Tommy and Richard drive down the road with Richard drowning in his sorrows.
By the way, we haven't gotten there yet where she flies, have we?
No.
Okay.
Wait, where who flies?
Well, where his girlfriend flies, right?
Michelle?
Yes.
Well, she was at the airport where
Yes.
she spotted those two.
Oh, and she's getting a flight ticket from Sandusky to Cuyahoga Falls.
I thought about that. What is that, like 100 miles or something?
And they're both tiny.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that looked like a nice international-ish airport.
I suspect both of those places you'd fly in and out of Cleveland.
Right.
Maybe Toledo.
Yeah.
Although who's going to fly in and out of Toledo? You just go to Detroit. But
Yeah.
I'm like, could I have a flight from Sandusky to Cuyahoga Falls? What are you, crazy?
Just drive there. It'd take less time.
How big do you think the airport is in
Yeah.
Sandusky and Cuyahoga Falls? I couldn't get over that.
Yeah. So Tommy's swerving off the road because Richard is like plastered. They then are being chased by the cops. Tommy, convinced they're going to go to jail for drinking, swerves off the road, screaming that bees are attacking them. After the cops leave, Tommy has an epiphany that they need to go to Chicago and talk to Zelensky. I think I just barfed on a molehill or anthill. Cool. Apparently bees aren't active at night, so that's a big
They're
continuity issue.
huge and they're sting crazy.
I'm allergic to bees.
Your firearms are useless against them.
Well, that's true.
That scene
It's great.
is one of my favorites.
Nice.
It's so ridiculous
Yeah.
and hilarious. You know, I'm allergic to bees.
Yeah, me too. Tommy and Richard head to Chicago by pretending to be flight attendants. Apparently they paid him off. This bothered Tracy to no
Yeah,
end. It's
yeah.
like, how did they get to, they just gave them money? How much money do they have?
I don't know. And of course, nobody could get away with this now, but back
Yeah.
then, you know.
So they're on the plane. Richard's giving the airline spiel, dropping the second R word of the movie,
Yes.
talking about if you don't know how to put on your seatbelt, I'm going to send Tommy back there and tell him how much of a you are. When they arrive at the airport, though, they said, the attendant's like, hey, you can't park there. And Richard says, keep it. That's got to be an homage to Stripes, right? It's not the exact
I
same
think
words,
so.
but come on.
No, but
has
it's
to be.
very close.
Memorable moment here. We get Tommy changing in the airplane bathroom.
Yes. And falling
over and out,
Getting
yeah.
stuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very underappreciated moment, though, that Richard walks in and then immediately walks back out, changed and ready to go.
Yes.
I don't understand why couldn't they have just changed in the car or something?
I don't know. Because it was funnier in the plane.
Yeah. Little continuity error as he's falling out, as Tommy is falling out of the bathroom. His blue and white boxers changed to tidy whities and then back to boxers when he's on the floor. That's because the stunt double was wearing tidy whities.
Oh, funny.
They arrive at Zelensky's offices, spot him heading into the building. Tommy holds up the bank, grabs Richard, and heads upstairs. They spot Zelensky in the elevator. Tommy introduces himself. Zelensky says he went a little heavy on the pine tree perfume.
Yes. Holding up the bank.
Holding up the bank's hilarious. Because, all right, listen up. This will only take a
Yes,
minute. And then both of the
everyone
cops fall to
just-
the ground and throw their guns
Throw
at
their
him.
guns. Everyone hits the floor.
I do like Zelensky's response to the pine tree perfume because Tommy says, oh, it's actually a car freshener. Great, you've pinpointed it. Step 2 is washing it off.
Yes.
Of course, before they get on the elevator, we get our fat shaming of the little kid's like, hey, that's the guy that held up the bank. It's like, that wasn't me. And the kid's like it was some other fat guy with a tiny head. I have a tiny head?
Yeah.
Tommy tries to convince Zelensky not to shut down Callahan, but he is not moved. He leaves Tommy as he heads to the office to sign paperwork with Paul and Beverly. Memorable moment here, Richard's hairpiece flying off while they're going through the auto parts factory. You think that factories like that are in like big downtown buildings?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. But the hairpiece was pretty funny.
Now, he doesn't really wear one, right?
No. David Spade does not wear a hairpiece.
That's kind of funny. They have to make him bald, then put a hairpiece on him.
Yeah. We do get a nice moment here. Tommy and Richard are outside. You know, Tommy continues to talk about how he's a failure. You know, Richard said he did a really good job. And then all of a sudden, Michelle arrives with a police report. So apparently, she, instead of going to Cuyahoga Falls, she changed her ticket to Chicago, which would make more sense. Michelle arrives with the police report to tell them that Beverly and Paul are actually married. Tommy has a plan to save the company, recruits a TV crew to help. Tommy then busts into the office, forces Zelensky's hand by making him buy 500,000 brake pads. Zelensky thinks he won't need to honor the deal, but Michelle and Tommy then reveal that Beverly was never legally married to Tom, thus reverting all shares to Tommy, who says he won't be selling Callahan. Paul's extent of crimes are revealed. He tries to run, but is ultimately taken out by a crash test car, ultimately getting racked by suspension testing weights.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought when those were the weights testing that seat. He sat down in the seat and it was testing like the springs in the seat to see how long they lasted. Either way, funny.
So we get 3 fat shaming comments or scenes here. We get Tommy breaking the bench as he's sitting on it. We have the college frat boys saying, "Is that Tommy on TV?" And then they say the camera adds a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And then we get Paul in the boardroom saying, "Wait a minute, fat boy." But ultimately, Tommy wins. So back at Callahan, Tommy is introduced as the new president. He makes some jokes, but promises to keep everyone employed. I feel like there's a gaffe here because they said Thomas Callahan Jr., but the door earlier said Thomas Callahan III. So I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Big problem. Ruined the movie for me.
Yeah.
Later, Tommy is playing with his dinghy, talking to his dad, hoping for some wind. A breeze stirs, and Tommy heads back to shore to meet up with Michelle after sustaining a concussion from the boom.
Right.
And thus ends Tommy Boy. What a movie.
Yeah.
What a pick.
It is.
Thank you, Allison. I had so much fun watching this. Few trivialities here. Chris Farley was completely clean and sober during shooting. His only obsession during shooting was the cappuccino.
Yeah.
Which he drank a lot of.
Yeah. The thing I read said up to like 27 a day, which is insane.
Yeah. The movie was originally going to be titled Billy the Third, a Midwestern, which is a weird title. They changed the name when Billy Madison was announced.
Oh, wow.
Other names were going to be Fat Chance and XL.
Wow.
Real nice.
You know what? Tommy Boy, it worked out.
Tommy Boy works just fine. The original focus of the story was Tommy and Paul's relationship instead of Tommy and Richard.
Oh, really?
Actually, I can't even imagine what that movie would be.
No.
Many of the hijinks were from real events from the director and producer's lives. The bending of the car door and the driving off while peeing were 2 of the examples.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's it. I have one companion. Watch the movie Almost Heroes. It's not a great movie, but it's got Chris Farley and Matthew Perry. May they both rest in peace. I should say, Chris Farley died like 2 years after this movie.
Yeah.
It's so sad. I think the last movie he did the last big movie he did was Beverly Hills Ninja, which I don't think I've ever actually finished. But the movie with him and Matthew Perry, it's about 2 guys that are on an expedition just like Lewis and Clark.
Oh,
and
really?
It's a competition as to who's going to get to the Pacific first.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Okay, favorites. My favorite character, obviously Tommy. You can't pick anybody else. My favorite line, every time I drive down the road, I want to jerk the wheel into a goddamn bridge abutment. And I think it's the visuals along with that.
Yeah, yeah.
My favorite scene, of course, is the motel housekeeping. Between the lines and then him getting up and dropping his blankets. What's your favorites? Your character?
Tommy.
Okay.
My favorite line is the one about I could take a dump in a box and put a guarantee on that. I've got the time.
Nice. Favorite scene or shot?
The car crash in the guy's office. I love the car crash in the guy's office.
I should actually change mine. I'm sorry. I don't know why I put motel housekeeping. It's definitely the car crash.
I mean, there are a lot of good scenes, but that car crash is just great.
Our fat shaming count is 14.
14 that is a lot. Yeah.
Final thoughts and rating. I'll go first here because it's real simple. I've been watching this movie for 30 years. I still laugh my ass off watching it. It's totally harmless. I mean, look, the fat shaming stuff, yes, it's a product of its time. Most people are more enlightened now. Some people are kinder now. Some people. It is, some people. It is what it is. But this movie is absolute blast. It's nice and short. It's well written. It's well acted. It's 5 stars and a heart. I love it. I love this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to give it 4.5.
4.5.
If I'm allowed to get past.
Can't give it that 5.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, that's a pretty good rating, Mike.
It is.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. Our next episode is going to be a little movie called The Princess Bride. And
It's a good one, as I recall.
Definitely wonder where you're going to land on that one.
I've seen it. It's been a while,
Yeah.
but I've seen it.
Okay, so we are now going to spin our wheel for our next theme
All
so we
right.
can prepare for our movies. So
This is awesome.
let's see if the sound effect works. Nice.
How about that?
Okay, our next theme is called Top Shelf. Top Shelf is all-time movies.
Ooh.
So basically something that's considered a classic or
Right.
highly
At the top of some
regarded.
list or,
Yes.
yeah.
So I think our next one is going to be, not a comedy necessarily.
All right. Now, how do we decide what it is?
You decide. You pick
Oh,
yours.
okay, so we
You
each-
pick
okay.
yours. I pick mine, and I've already got a couple ideas.
All right, cool.
We'll see where I land.
I can come up. I'll look at some lists,
Yeah.
right? Like those AFI lists and stuff like
Yep,
that.
you could do AFI. You could do, even like Best Picture winners or stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So you got a lot of direction.
Although some of those don't actually age well. But
That's true.
yes,
Crash.
I'll look. All right.
But that'll do it. Thank you, Charlie.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Spirited Movie Companions. If you'd like to send us a message, you can do so at bottledandbondpod@gmail.com. Until next time, make yourself some popcorn, grab a comfy seat, and find yourself a spirited companion. Goodbye.